Hello, my name is Delaney and I'm in strategic management with Professor Schultz. And over the past 8 weeks, I have done an analysis of Wells Fargo and Company. Wells Fargo was founded on March 18th, in 1852 by Henry Wells and William Fargo to serve the West. They provided banking and mail, and they would buy gold and sell drafts of paper banks and ship the gold or anything else valuable very quickly to their consumers. They wanted to reach their consumers in a different aspect. So Wells Fargo agents opened branches in several western cities and mining camps. As of now, the company serves nearly 11 million customers in 23 states through more than 3,000 bank branches and stores, most of which are in the western United States, Ohio being the easternmost state of the service they offer. Wells Fargo goes by visions and values of their company. Their vision is an enduring vision of helping customers succeed financially, which unites us as one Wells Fargo. Their 5 values include what's right for customers, people as a competitive advantage, ethics, diversity, inclusion, and leadership. In 2010, Wells Fargo's growing revenue and rising stock brought the company's value to nearly $300 billion. However, there was a catch to this. Behind this success was a company culture that drove employees to open fraudulent accounts and attempt to reach unrealistic sales goals. In an article written by Berger and Perez in 2018, they stated that between 2011 and 2015, company employees opened more than 1.5 million bank accounts and applied for over 565,000 credit cards in customers' names that were not authorized. A lot of this affected consumers' credits and allowed them to almost distrust Wells Fargo and have the option to leave the company. And it really makes you wonder how they abide by their visions and values and if they actually take pride in how they shape their company, because they contradicted everything that they stand for, which is helping their consumers succeed financially. I mean, really, they affected a lot of their customers in a negative way, and is something that the customers are going to take a while to, recover from. We'll go over the 5 force analysis of the company. It kind of just gives you an idea of where they're at competitively. The threat of new entrants, due to the rapid development of online applications that can be installed by everyone at a low cost, it will carry new business entrants, so it can make it pretty high. Just by overcoming this challenge, they can create new apps that'll make it easier for their consumers to do their banking with them. Their competitive rivalry is pretty high. They have a lot of rivals such as JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, and Bank of America, which are their 3 biggest. And that's just something that's always going to be high in the banking industry. The bargaining power of buyers is pretty high because consumers really have the option to go to any bank that they want to, and especially after that scandal, they lost a lot of customers, because they can't trust the company. The threat of substitutes is pretty high. We've seen a big increase in Apple Pay, especially with the new Apple cards. A lot of consumers are choosing to put their money into that. Although Apple Pay is not necessarily a bank, a lot of consumers have been putting their money on there and using the Apple credit card that way instead of banks. The bargaining power of suppliers is low. Many of the banking companies go through the same several suppliers, so this makes it pretty low force. EFE is a really good matrix to look at. One of the biggest things is, Wells Fargo needs to look into growing into smaller cities. This offers a big opportunity to create a different customer base. And they also should build bank locations in all 50 states. It allows them, again, to create a bigger customer base and allow, access for their consumers. Some threats could be online scams by a third party and, the negative perceptions toward them from the 2016 fake account scandal, which is a big thing. IFE goes over the strengths and weaknesses, and some of the strengths is they have a high skilled workforce. They have really good sales reps that are able to open up bank accounts. They have different offerings, personal, business, and commercial banking as well, which broadens their scope. Their weaknesses now are their customer relationships and their organizational structure. They're going to have to figure out a way to completely reorganize their company, and based off of what they're going to bring value to their customers now. They did just gain a different CEO, and hopefully with the gaining of this new CEO, he'll build a better company structure and company culture that'll hopefully reach them to success someday. SWOT analysis, they can explore future mergers or acquisitions of failing banks to see if it can help them financially. Also expand the availability of the ATMs in the larger cities as well. They also just need to build a visible and physical presence in other countries. They have some in Canada, Mexico, but that's about it. They slowly develop their physical locations in major cities, and that's something that could actually hurt them if they don't continue to try to do. Also, just promote Wells Fargo carefully to potential foreign customers, and practice ethical businesses to attract their customers back. Their finances, you can see that they've been pretty stagnant and up and down through the past 3 years. Their EPS has been pretty standard, and it's going to be interesting to see the way their money goes this year, especially with the global pandemic. I'd be interested to see, how well they do next year. It's going to not only affect them, it's going to affect so many companies around the world. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see how they do in this next year. Some recommendations, obviously their continuous improvement of ethics. It was a good move on them to get a different CEO, and get a new leadership structure in there to see what he can do to change the company and hopefully flip it around and make it to what it needs to be. Also, like we said earlier, their mergers and acquisition of smaller banks, this will allow them to reach a larger customer base, and also hopefully increase their market share, in the banking industry. Overall, Wells Fargo is a pretty successful company, as they've always been, and a lot of that came from that 2016 scandal and all of the opening of those bank accounts. So it'll be an eye-opener to see how they do in the next upcoming years and how they recover from this after their new leadership, just to see what they can do with it, and if they can survive as a company with ethical practices. I've really enjoyed doing research on this company. It's been different and definitely eye-opening to understand things that go on behind the scenes that you don't realize. Makes you want to look into every company that you purchase from, or get service from. So my recommendation for you as a consumer is just to, look into the companies that you're buying from and understand everything that they do as a company, and if you really want to support them in that. I've really enjoyed being in this class with all of you and learning from you guys. This is probably one of my favorite classes. It was one of my favorite classes in my undergrad as well. You learn a lot about different companies, and it's been really nice to have you guys share, your information on your companies and really learn from you guys as well. So I hope all of you guys stay safe, and hopefully everyone can have a great summer, and we can all get through this global pandemic. Have a great day.